because we want to be grounding like a tripod almost through our feet. Explore any other kinds of movements just for a couple of seconds. What sensations do I feel in my body? My glutes turning on immediately. Hey y'all, I'm Chelsea, your care practice partner, and welcome back to Care with Chelsea. Today I was going to record a video for y'all and realized that my body was needing some more support. So I'm actually going to pivot a bit and do a yoga flow first. Maybe not exactly a yoga flow, just moving my body a bit more because I'm having some pain in my shoulder, pain and discomfort really, tightness, stiffness. I haven't gone to yoga in a couple of days. So we're going to be working on shoulder, psoas here, part of the torso, and our outer hip and inner thigh, because I'm having just like a lot of tightness. So if you're having any kind of discomfort or tightness in your psoas, your shoulder, your hip, some of these movements might be helpful for you. I'm gonna go ahead and move back to my yoga mat. As always, use whatever kind of covering on the floor is going to be most supportive for you. It can be a blanket, it can be sitting in your bed. I've also got some props for my use today, doing some exercises for my physical therapy, pelvic physical therapy specifically. I've got these two balls that are squishy that I'll be doing some rolling on. And I've got my blocks set up by my yoga mat as well. So let's go. All right, y'all, made it back to my mat and going to just start off by noticing how the places of our body are feeling that we're going to focus on today. So hip, psoas, and shoulder, arm. And I'm going to start in a standing position and start with grounding in my feet. So that's feeling that all three corners of my feet are really touching down into the mat. And starting to move from side to side. And when I say all three corners, it's that inner ball of your foot, the outer edge of your foot, and your heel. So the point closest to the inside of your foot with your big toe, the point furthest on the outside of your foot near your pinky toe, and then the point furthest towards your butt, your heels, because we want to be grounding like a tripod almost through our feet, giving us support as we move our body. And taking note of some of those sensations, that tightness in my IT band on the inner side of my thigh, got some pulling sensation, a little pinching also, and then just continued tightness here in my groin, in my psoas area. And I just want to take note as I move, as I continue moving, how those named sensations might be changing, because that's giving me data about how I move my body and what kind of release those movements can give my body, at least in this moment, because those things can always change. All right, so now I'm gonna just continue focusing on my breath as I'll actually step my feet in a bit and show this movement that my acupuncturist introduced me to, using my body like a pendulum for my arms, and the momentum that's allowing this pendulum, like my arms to be a pendulum, I don't know, something like that. The movement allowing that is this bouncing in my knees, because I'm kind of able to jump start some of the swinging by moving my torso from side to side as I bounce my knees. And as I start getting going with that, I can move my torso less and allow my arms to take on new movement. This is a much more exaggerated way of the same movements that we go through when we're walking. And because it's really easy in the world we live in to spend so much time sitting down, some of this exaggeration is going to invite a lot more release than if you might just focus on swinging your arms while walking. And for me, it also gives me more release so that walking is actually more comfortable, and standing actually. And as I'm doing this, for me, that psoas sensation, I feel moving. I feel that sensation changing as my right arm, the side of my body where my psoas is feeling tight, is moving back and forth. I'm feeling, as I'm swinging my right arm backwards, there's a stretch happening. And some of the stiffness that is sitting over in my psoas is loosening up a bit. And there's one other move too that kind of gives you more freedom in your shoulders and torso that I learned from my physical therapist. Might have done this for y'all before. But swinging our arms up and bringing a bend into the knees as we shift forward, backwards, and side to side. And this is allowing some rotation in our shoulder blades in more of a free-form way. So much less concentrated than doing some kind of strength exercise, but allowing both mobility, or not mobility, both, but allowing mobility without a lot of extra weight, just using the weight of our body. I get the most release from going backwards. It gives me a lot of stretching in my shoulders and in the front of my chest. I like bringing a little bit of an arch into my back. And I also bring a slight bend in my knees, whether I'm going forwards, backwards, side to side, so that I'm not creating too much heavy impact on my knees. We're doing something that's supposed to be really light for our bodies. Oh. And I personally like to also just do this swinging of the arms around my body, a wrapping of my arms around my body with that same kind of pendulum idea that I'm using my lower body to bring momentum into my upper body to allow my arms to swing. And when I'm doing this, I like to kind of change between allowing my torso to actually rotate to each side versus keeping my torso stationary and concentrating the movement in my shoulders only. And I'd invite you to just explore any other kinds of movements just for a couple of seconds. You might see me on the screen just doing some free form movements, and I'm just exploring what taking different forms, different shapes in my body does for those areas of my body I noted I want some more support for. I want to introduce new sensations in today. Okay. Oh, wow. Now I'll shift to the floor where we'll do a bit more concentrated exercise on psoas and hip. These are some exercises that I also learned from pelvic physical therapy, yoga, kind of a mishmash of things. So I'll start with, actually I've got my balls. This will be our next Our next movement, I want to actually start with some stabilization, hip stabilization and strengthening in our buttocks, our booty thing. Oh, so I'm coming onto my back with my feet both planted on the floor. And I want to start with the strengthening motion I mentioned. And to do this motion, again, having both my feet planted on the floor, and imagining that there is a ball here between my thighs. You can also grab a ball, a squishy ball of some sort that's large enough, or a pillow that's light, to squeeze between your thighs if that gives you a bit more feedback. And then I'll press up on my feet, lifting my pelvis until I can feel my fist beneath my tailbone. And for me, I'm focusing on this level because it's really hard for me to turn on my glutes. And I learned from my pelvic physical therapist that lifting myself higher might still allow me to turn on some of those muscles in my glutes, but the combination of muscles that turn on are different depending on how far I am off the ground. And we're just working on the combination of muscles where I'm closer to the ground to start, because this is not a place where I focused before. And once I'm in that position, about a fist height off the ground, I'll just lift each of my feet up as if I'm marching in place, really feeling my glutes turning on immediately, which is really great. And I find that maintaining that squeezing ball sensation between my thighs, between my knees almost, really alleviates pressure in my lower back, helping me to activate my core a bit more, to support me and to take the weight off of my lower back. And I do this exercise to prep my glutes before doing some stabilization for my hip, which is better supported if my glutes are firing. So the stabilization for my hip, I'll lift my pelvis up to, more of a typical height, still allowing some give, still maintaining that sensation of a ball between my legs so that I'm not putting too much pressure on my lower back. And now I'll just lift up one leg. And for me, my right hip is the problem area. My right hip is the weak spot. So I'm going to focus on my right hip only and just moving my leg up and down. And I found that doing this exercise to stabilize my hip really helps with some of the discomfort in my psoas and upper body in general, shoulders, spine, because I tend to have more unnecessary rotation happening in my body that creates pain. And giving more stability in my hip, I've learned from my different doctors, my different providers, different body care specialists I work with, really helps with reducing that twisting feeling. Okay. And I can describe that right now, I'm feeling a lot less pressure in my psoas. I'm not sure if that translates to having less stiffness there once I stand up, but at least sitting here, I feel less pressure in here, particularly after doing that hip stabilizer. Gonna do maybe 2 or 3 more things, starting with our balls now. This is another thing I've learned from my pelvic physical therapist to help with rotation in my thoracic spine, using my legs as a lever, which is honestly so cool to me. I love this exercise. So I'm going to use these 2 balls and place them on either side of my spine, along my back side in my thoracic spine. Thoracic spine is going to be here in this area. And as a general rule of thumb, think the area that is at the base of your ribs and up, and at the point where your shoulders meet and below. And I want my balls to rest a bit higher. I've noticed that gives me a bit more release if I start higher and end lower. And then I'll show you what we'll be doing with our legs to get some of that lever motion I was talking about. So I'm going to roughly place my balls where I think they'll need to be and come onto my back. You could also, place the balls where you think you might need them on the mat itself, and roll over onto them. Okay. Just finding spot, and take whatever time you need to get yourself in a comfortable position. And if you don't have balls to use, you can definitely just give this a try on the floor as is, without this additional inflection point along your spine. And I'm gonna first just breathe a little bit, because this definitely changes some of my breathing sensations, just being on these balls. And I also do feel a slight release in my psoas and my pelvis, because with the balls under my back in this position, my pelvis is tipped forward just a bit, giving me a bit more release in the front here. And I'll keep my feet planted on the ground and just begin allowing my legs, my knees, to fall to either side of my body. And as I'm starting this, I can already feel how stiff the right side of my inner thigh feels. There's a pulling sensation that's happening as soon as I start to rotate my legs that way. But I'm not going to back away from that sensation just yet. It's not a sensation that is causing me a sharp pain or a burning pain. So I'm going to allow my legs to continue falling side to side for a few more motions and see if that sensation lessens at all, and if I might want to continue doing this because it lessens that sensation. And as I'm talking through that, that's exactly what is happening. I'll invite you to do the same, just noting as you're in this position, just like we did before at the start of our practice, what sensations do I feel in my body right now? Can I name them? Can I put words to them? Is it tingly? Is it prickly? Is it a pulling sensation? Is it a pressure? And then taking a moment as you're moving to note if there are any changes to how you describe that sensation. That initial sensation that I was describing to y'all on the inside of my thigh, completely gone now. Or I guess actually not even completely gone. It does not start until I get to this point. And before it was immediate. So I call that a win. All right, I'm gonna move my balls down just a bit more. See if there is a different kind of release I might be able to feel. in my body, if there's any kind of difference in sensation I feel that I want to explore, shifting the point at which I am creating this rotation in my spine, using my legs as a lever for that rotation. And this is interesting too. That inner thigh feeling is much stronger right now. Than it was at the point a bit higher in my back I was just at. Yeah, I feel that this is harder right now. Just remembering to focus on my breath. Now I do feel some of that sensation dissipating on my inner thigh. And I'm going to come up into a seated position. I'll invite you to continue with this movement or whatever movement you're working on that's feeling good in your body. I'm going to roll over to my side to come up to seated. Whew. All right. I think the last thing I want to do are some 90-90s. Not sure if I've shown this on a previous video, but these are called 90-90s because you're making a 90-degree angle with your front leg and a 90-degree angle with your back leg in a seated position. So I've come from just seated with my feet flat on the ground, swinging my legs to one side of my body. I'm starting with my right side, so that means my left leg is in front of me and my right leg is at the point of my hip and shoulders right now. This is a movement that you can really explore in lots of different ways in your body. I know that for me, I need to start more upwards because there's a lot of tightness in my hip, in my pelvis, in my inner thigh that I need to allow to relax before I increase the intensity of the stretch. I also like moving my torso from side to side because in this position with these 90-90s, we're kind of like creating a big stretch on the opposite corners of our body. If you've got your legs on the right side of your body and you rotate your shoulders, your torso to the left, it's like you're creating, it's like grabbing the edges, the opposite ends of a piece of paper or a stretchy, some stretchy material and tugging at either end. And that gives me a lot of release down here in my groin, my pelvis area. So I really like shifting from side to side. Already sitting down right now, I feel a huge difference on the inside of my thigh on the right side. And you can definitely come all the way down if that is something that's accessible to you in your body. You can use a prop to rest your head on or rest part of your body on to increase the stretch without holding all of your weight. All right, now I'm going to switch to the other side, bringing my legs to the left side of my body. And on this side of my body, I do still have some tightness on the inside of my thigh, but the principal issue is the outside of my thigh, my IT band, my hip flexor up here. And I still like to explore this sensation I was talking about, pulling the two ends of our stretchy piece of paper on this side of my body, but the sensations on this side of my body are different. So that doesn't bring the same kind of release. I actually, on this side, will focus on bringing my torso closer to the ground. With my legs on the left side of my body, I'm able to bring my torso a lot closer to the ground because I'm not having the same kind of restriction on the inner thigh with my leg that's to the back of me. And I'd encourage you not to, force yourself into any position, into any depth or any level of perceived intensity for this stretch. Because allowing your body to sink into it will naturally create its own release. Your body knows your stopping point when it comes to stretching, and you can explore your stopping place. Once you find it, easing up from your stopping point and then coming back down into it or up into it, whichever direction the stretch is going, is how you explore your stopping space and eventually get to move beyond it, perhaps. And for me, as I'm moving back and forth from my stopping point, allowing my torso to come close to the ground as far as I feel I can go, and moving back up into my ease, it's almost like a massage is happening on the outside of my thigh along my IT band. Thinking about that move that we just did, shifting our legs back and forth on our back, our legs were the lever. And right now, I'm allowing my torso to be the lever for this stretch happening on the outside of my thigh. Isn't it so cool how our bodies do these things? We are quite complex machines. Well, not machines, but mechanisms, organisms, all the things. Whew. All right. And I'm just taking a moment to feel the sensations in my body one last time before we close out back standing. So I'm going to come back onto the balls of my feet. Again, finding grounding on the tripods that are my feet. Starting to bring some motion side to side. And wow, I've actually noticed a lot of changes for myself as I'm moving my hips back and forth. That snappy feeling I had isn't happening as intensely. I still feel it there, but it's much more subdued, which I'm really happy about. It's going to make sitting and doing my work at the computer and stuff later much easier, much less arduous on my legs, because I'm also feeling that there's a release that I've gotten in my IT band. So some of that massage that I was talking about as we're moving our torso back and forth. I did it. I did it. I did it. I did some things. We did some things today. Also feeling a lot more release in the psoas, in my psoas here. I also feel less stiffness in my torso in general. Before, as I was moving my arms back and forth, there was a lot of uncomfortable sensation with my arm, my right arm moving backwards, that I am not feeling anymore. So yay, go us. We made our body feel better by spending some time with it. It's that easy. It's that easy. I mean, it's not easy. It's taken me a really long time to learn all of these things. And that's one of the reasons why I started this channel, because I know it's taken too damn long, just because I didn't have access to people who could explain some of this stuff step by step for me, and also just let me see them walking through it. So yeah, I'm just really happy in this moment that I am able to articulate some of the things that I've learned and to share them. It's even for me really helping some of this knowledge that I've been gaining sink in different ways, which is also exciting because I'm like, wait, I've known this, but now it feels different. Now it feels more charged or more energetic or more like at the top of my mind when I'm going through my day, which is exactly how I ended up doing this video for y'all today. I was about to record a video, some more educational content for y'all that I'm really excited about sharing, but my body was not feeling good and I did not push through. I decided not to push through and instead spend some time exploring the sensations in my body to give them a chance to change. And that's exactly what they did. Ooh, this position is not comfortable on my feet. Let me move as I close out. If you made it this far in the video, I'd love to know what was a position that felt like it was creating release in your body in a way that you hadn't tried before. Or maybe it was like most confusing. That's also helpful information. Either way, I would love to know how this landed for you, how these movements landed in your body, and what else it is that you might be wanting to explore. I know I'm focusing on some of the pain areas in my body, but if there's an area in your body that you'd like to see some more guidance on, let me know in the comments and I can create a little movement flow. We can workshop something together. And also know that you can always book a care practice partner session with me. That's a one-on-one session where we'll talk exclusively about your care. And if you're someone who's wanting or just needing some extra support as you're working through whatever kind of care goals you've got for yourself, self-care, well-being, all of those categories of things, just take a look in the description box. I've got a link to my care practice partner sessions so that we can make your care a priority and give you prioritized support to meet your care goals. All right, that's all for me today. I guess now I can actually get to recording the video I was planning on, and I'll see you next week. Bye, y'all.